Hey, how's it going, guys? This is your boy Hazzed, and today we're going to be focusing on 6.2.3 Dual Wield Frost DK PvP in Arena specifically. Now, guys, my older guides were more based around double DPS, BGs, doing things like that, self-survival. And this guide is actually going to be the arena guide for Frost DKs, a little bit more towards that. Now, if you guys want to go from, let's say you're sitting at about 1,000 rating, 12,000, 1,500, 1,700, and you want to get 2K, 2,200, this is going to be the guide that's going to help you push there. And I'll focus on the things you're probably missing or messing up on that you're going to have to try and fix and or correct, and a couple of the main points that are going to be different from some of my other guides. So let's jump into this, guys. First off, you gotta know what the hell talents you're using before you can even do anything in there, of course. Now, guys, keep in mind, when it comes to Arena, changing comps also has a chance to change what talents you're using. And, of course, what you're fighting in Arena also has a chance to change what talents you're using. So, we're gonna start off, Plague Bear, don't use it. I mean, this is an Arena guide. I'm not going to sit here and beat around the bush. Don't use it. Don't touch it. Holy Blight, don't touch it. We're using Plague Leech. Why are we using Plague Leech? Because it's going to give us 2 extra runes, and if you're not using that, oh boy. Alright, so 57, we're going to be using Lichborn generally to get out of fears. Anti-Magic Zone can be used against some magic comps, but generally it's not used right now since it's not that strong. As for Purgatory, boy, I want to slap every DK I've ever seen using Purgatory in PvP. Stop using the ability. I even had some people arguing about how good it was on one of my guides the other day, and I was like, oh, you too. Alright, so we're moving on to level 58 talent. You're going to either want to be using Asphixiate or Chillbrains generally. I have seen somebody use Death Advance to kill monks in Arena. I don't quite know the trick on that. I don't. If someone else knows it, they might be able to explain it. But generally, you're going to be using either Asphyxiate unless you're sitting at stun-heavy comp, which in case you could go Chillbrains. But generally, you're going to be using Asphyxiate because a 30-second cooldown is amazing. You can also DR that ability and cause it to be like multiple silences instead of going into stuns. I mean, 30-second silence. That's bonkers. As for the level 60 talent, you're going to be using Blood Tap. Why are we using Blood Tap? Blood Tap's going to give you better control. It's also going to give you higher burst because of the stupid extra little burst macro. We'll talk about that a little later on, about how it makes your Frost Strikes hit faster, and it's just like, ha ha! Tricky hobbits. Alright, so you're going to be like, why aren't we using Runic Corruption? Because Runic Corruption, guys, I was playing that for double DPS. That was actually based off of a certain strat. You know, I kite a lot, I do my thing, I kite around pillars, stay alive, and I needed to do that for double DPS. And Blood Tap has too much downtime at a certain point if you're trying to keep like a consistent rotation to be, you know, pushing high rated, playing the comp that I was. It just didn't work out too well. As for the level 75 talent, you can use Death Siphon if you're good at it in Arena, but for the most part, generally high-rated teams like to use Death Pact because Death Pact is basically just like a counter burst. You know, they burst on you, throw you in a smoke bomb. Death Pact, run out of it, you're fine. That's why they like using that, because Death Siphon can really bone you. If the roguelike Cloak of Shadows and you're trying to like Death Siphon him, but nothing's happening, and this guy is happy, he has no idea he's in the video. He's like, yeah, I'm chilling. He wanted to be in a video. I was like, just stand there, dude. We got you. Alright, so the level 90 talent, generally you're going to be using Desecrated Ground to break CCs, of course. Now, I mean, Remorseless Winter, I don't generally want to use it. As for Gorfin's Grass, that's more BG, RBG, stay away from that for Arena. As for the level 100 talent, of course you're going to go Necrotic Plague for dual wield. Breath of Cinder Grows is not good for dual wield, since most of your dual wield damage comes from Frost Strike, and Frost Strike comes from Runic Power. So, don't do that. Defile, it doesn't even give us that damage buff, or damage, reduction buff anymore, so Defile just went straight to doo-doo. So, I mean, we don't want to be using that either. So let's jump over to Glyphs. Next, we're going to talk about Glyphs. Now, Glyphs can change up, of course, based on what comp you're fighting, based on if it's cast or melee, and, you know, whether you're going to steal a lot of CCs or not, which you should be doing. Remember that. It's a big part of Arena. Focus on that. Anyways, so basically we're going to be rocking either like the Dark Sim Glyph, basically reduces the cooldown of Dark Sim and increases its duration. Why? Because believe it or not, guys, stealing abilities in Arena actually is amazing. It is a need. You have to do that. You have to be stealing CC. Now, how do you do that? We'll probably talk about that a little later. We're going over rotation and stuff and talking about a little pre-planning. But yes, guys, that is definitely a need you need to be doing in Arena. If you're just going in and trying to kill people based off of your own CC as a DK, it's going to be very hard because we don't have that much CC as a DK. Now, I mean, it'll be easier if you're playing with, another class that has a lot of CC to counter that. You get away with not using it as much, but I mean, generally, it's going to be like that. All right, so the other thing you got to be using is the Glyph of Icy Touch. Why, guys? Because it dispels. Now, when we go over our rotations, you'll see exactly why this is needed. It basically causes the Obliterate rotation on healers, involving healers, to be absolutely amazing and effective. Now, as for this third talent, this is going to be the one you switch out generally based on what comps you're fighting. I like this because whenever you get slowed, it gives you extra runic power, which is the Glyph of Runic Power, as you can see. What do you want to switch that out for if you're going to switch things around? You can switch it out for your Glyph of Anti-Magic Cell. Not that one. Where's the other one? There should be another one. We don't even have it. We should go buy it. We're going to buy it right after this video because we're a dumbass on this character. Alright, so the Glyph of Regenerative Magic. Basically, your anti-magic spell expires after its full duration. Its cooldown is reduced by up to 50% based on an amount and damage absorbed remaining, which is absolutely amazing in Arena if you're being focused by spellcasters. You toss that up, they don't focus you, and then it comes back up in no time. By the time they hit you again with it, you've already got it back up. I mean, it basically looks like you're throwing up anti-magic cell every, 30 seconds. I swear, if you do that to people in duels that don't know about that glyph, they literally poop their pants with how much anti-magic shell's up. They're like, what the hell just happened? I didn't hit your anti-magic shell, but it's always on. So that's what you're basically going to be using, guys, when it comes to glyphs for the most part. That's what we basically be using. I don't know if you want to be using any of the other ones. Probably not. Oh, yeah, one more. Icebound Fortitude Glyph. Some people like to use that, get out of stuns a lot. It basically reduces the cooldown by 50%, but it makes it doo-doo for a defensive cooldown, so you got to remember that. Anyways, guys, let's jump over to rotation and a few other ideas. Real quick, we're going to touch up on gear, enchants, glyphs, and, of course, weapon enchants. Alright, so as for the 2 sets, you using the 4 set? No, don't touch the 4 set. You want the raw stats from the other items. It actually works out better. Your character seems to be a lot stronger that way. You also have some better survivability. Alright, so as for the neck, basically I'm rocking the 725 one. The reason is because it's going to give me a lot more versatility. Basically, I'm just taking out crit. Just kind of replacing the PvP item with this one. And of course, for the enchant on that, you want 75 mastery, since we're based off mastery damage with dual wield. Frost strike, howling blast, icy touch, everything is just straight mastery. Alright, so for the cloak, basically, you're going to be rocking the haste mastery one. Basically, the enchanted is going to be 100 mastery and 10% speed. You got to have that, guys. That 10% speed is absolutely amazing for, any class. You got to have it. There's a difference. When people ask me, why does that make such a difference? It's a difference between running next to somebody and hitting them and running away from somebody that doesn't have it. It's a huge difference. Alright, so the chest, now this is why we're only rocking the 2 set. The chest adds versatility and mastery. You already know why that's good. Jeez. Alright, so our bracer, we're rocking the haste mastery, get out more of that mastery haste damage. As for gloves, we're rocking the haste mastery, trying to get more of that damage. And for our belt, we're rocking versatility mastery. Gosh, all this mastery. Alright, the pants, we're rocking versatility mastery. You're starting to see, you see where this is going. You guys already know. And mastery multi-strike, you're like, what, multi-strike randomly? I know. They just had to give it to us. Alright, so for the rings, basically I'm rocking the same thing with the neck for the same principle, but besides that, the enchant on them is going to be 50 mastery. So, let's talk about trinkets. Now, basically, I'm rocking, since I'm human, of course, basically the versatility strength one equipped, and then I've got the strength use trinket. Now, some people like the mastery trinket. Now, what is the mastery trinket? The difference it's going to be with this trinket is you're going to get frost damage out of it, which it's not going to technically be enough damage or as much damage, because I've actually used both trinkets, switched them out, compared the damage, switched them around, compared the ability raw stat wise, and the strength just ended up being better in the long run. Does that mean that the mastery one won't be technically viable? No, it'll technically be viable. You can do fine with that. Now, you'll see a couple DKs doing really funky builds with mastery trinkets, and you're probably like, What are they doing that for? It doesn't make sense. There's actually like weird RPG builds or something going on that they like to use that for consistent damage and major dot pressure. So keep that in mind. But basically, why are we using strength, guys? Not only does strength buff up, your raw damage, strength is also going to buff up your parry, which parry does help a lot in 1v1s. Arena, it's okay. I mean, you parry a big crit or something, it can be amazing. But other than that, you generally won't get too many parries in arena. It also buffs your healing. Now, let's say you're not using Siphon. I mean, you can probably sacrifice that. A bit more. I mean, of course, you're going death back to heals percentage-wise, but it also does that. Now, people ask me in 1v1s, why would you use strength over mastery? That's why I just told you, more parry, more healing, more everything. Like, it's just all around a better stat. Like, why would you take basically an off stat over a main stat? You wouldn't. You really wouldn't. Like, a raw stat is tier 1. And then mastery, versatility, and that stuff comes secondary. Like, you can't just jump over and go, yeah, I want that one instead. It just doesn't make any sense, guys. As for weapon enchants, you want Rune of the Fallen Crusader on main weapon and Rune of Razor Ice on your offhands. Now, I've got a lot of questions about this. What do I want, swords or axes? If you guys are going to be pushing rating in arena, you're going to want to be rocking probably swords. Seems to be the better choice because of the faster hits and the stacking, and of course, it gives you myself, I'm rocking axes, if you can see now. Guys, I go for major damage, massive damage, as you can see. I like to get them big crits for videos and stuff like that. So I'm rocking the axes so I can get higher highs, but sometimes it gives me lower lows too, which is kind of a pain in the butt. But it all plays out fine for me. But anyways, guys, let's go ahead and jump over to rotation now. And yeah, rotation. Now, as you guys seen of some of my arena videos and stuff, and of course, compared to some of my BG videos, generally I have my Plague Strike setup is number 3, and my Obliterate is like number 6. Now, if I'm going to be doing arena, and in arena, of course, in the 3 situation or healer 2 situation, anything above like 1700, you're generally going to fight like healer DPS comps over and over and over again. So basically, you're going to see me switch around my Obliterate. Now, why would I use Obliterate? Now, guys, this is when you use Obliterate, when you're doing arena. Maximizing pressure, of course, right off the bat comes off with using Plague Strike, which is going to deal a little bit more damage, but it's not necessarily going to be a better setup. Remember why we changed some of the glyphs around. Now, damage, raw damage is good in arena. It's good, but it's not as good as being mechanical, and that's why teams with higher CC generally tend to do better, and that's why DKs don't tend to finish as high on the rankings. I believe the past few seasons is we've really had low CC. Now, so let's talk about this rotation a little bit. Now, this is going to be like your basic rotation with Obliterate, since generally you're going to be trying to kill through healers and stuff. You're going to go up to the target, you're going to hit your Outbreaker, you're just going to wait for a Howling Blast. It doesn't really matter. But you're going to hit your Obliterates. Now, why are you using Obliterates? You're basically, wow, that was actually probably the worst procs I've ever seen in my life. Just putting that out, guys. There it is. You're going to fight for your Dispel procs. Now, why are Dispels amazing? Basically, when you're fighting any arena, or any healer in arena, there's going to be things to Dispel. Basically, that's going to take off the magical buff, like Priest, Bubbles, Pally's little Sacred Shield procs that pump up. Their Freedoms, you want to take that off. Their Bop is amazing to dispel. I mean, they throw up a bop and you dispel that and you burst on them or something, and it's like GG at that point. It's like they can't bubble, I believe, for like 30 seconds after bop locks them out of it. So it's generally like a complete killer. So let's go into this rotation for arena. Like, you're trying to kill through healers, guys. We're not trying to like 1v1 DPS. Remember, this is arena settings. We're not maximizing pressure as fast as possible to burst somebody down. No, we're setting it up for the best burst in arena. Because remember, in arena, guys, it's not going to be the fastest setup with the fastest damage is going to be the fastest person to kill somebody. In arena, it's going to be whoever uses that 10-second CC time slot the best and generates the best amount of burst to go for that kill is going to be who does it, and actually plays out, of course, the other person's CDs better and triggers. So, okay, let's go into this rotation. I could just talk about this stuff forever, guys. So, okay, we got them Obliterates. We got like 100 runic power. But yeah, basically you're going to be slapping those to get faster runic power, to get faster Frost Strikes. Also, which, yes, that will generate that faster. But you'll also notice a little bit more downtime playing the spec. And, of course, with the Dispels, is basically the reason that you're doing that. Now, is there any times when you shouldn't do this? I mean, you come, if it's like you're playing twos, you come up against the double DPS comp, you can throw in some Plague Strikes on the opener and get that enhanced damage. Like, you'll see me using Plague Strike a lot in random BGs and stuff, especially when there's not healers. But in an arena setting, you definitely won't see me using it a lot. Because I want that proc to get that Dispel in the arena. And it's definitely amazing. Now, we were talking about something before when it came to the talents we were using with Blood Tap. Now, why do you use that in arena? Now, when it comes to Blood Tap, let's see here. Of course, you can store it up in Burst, which is amazing. Now, you take this little macro, or is it? I got tons of macros. I got to look through all these. We're also going to go into deeper macros here in a few. In arena, the macros you need, the ones that I didn't teach before if you want to push higher rating, because you definitely need this stuff, guys. It makes it arena almost mindless when you have those macros. Where's it at? It should be under these. I don't remember where I put it. It's probably this one. The simple one, we've talked about it in the other videos. It's the /cast Frost Strike /cast Blood Tap macro, which people were like, that's a noob macro. I understand that you're thinking that. But the reason that it's not a noob macro is you see here on the target now, it's my normal attacks. You see how he spins when he's using Obliterate? When you use Frost Strike, the character should do the same thing. But with this macro, you'll notice the character bugs out. Now, that was a fast spin compared to his normal spin. And like right now, I just hit Frost Strikes, and your character's not even moving, but the Frost Strikes are hitting. That actually causes the Frost Strikes to hit faster. Now, if you watch one of my my actual last montage, you'll notice one of them bugging out, and my character literally spins twice in a row really fast and hits Frost Strikes one after the other, and it was like 111k in a row, and it was just like a complete global. What up, Elf? How you doing, man? Making a guide right now. But anyway, so that's why you're going ahead and running that for this. It's one of the reasons. It's also going to let you, like I said, that short period of time, that bursting time period, you can also save it up for that and go ham with it. But yeah, I think that basically covers that for basic rotation. Like, basic rotation is a grind in arena, guys. A grind. Now, do you just use a few obliterates, get the dispels? Now, like, yeah, you just obliterate, dispel, obliterate, dispel, you get full ruining power. Basically, it sets up your target. They don't have their healing buffs, they don't have their bubbles, and then you drop the big Frost Strikes on them. And it's kind of like a circle like that. Kind of just a circle to grind them down. Now, should you use Howling Blast? If you're good enough to know when to dispel and when not, or when to Howling Blast, go for it. Now, if you're not at that point, generally you might just want to Mongoloid it a bit and go a little heavy on the dispels for arena. Might be a little bit better for you. But if you do know when to, differentiate and use the other one, it will be better for your rotation to do that. So that's why you're going to be doing that. Now, you'll notice in my other guide, of course, I said earlier about the Plague Strike thing, is on the opener using Plague Strike does deal more damage faster since you can peek that your Necrotic Plague faster, and during burst it 6 at higher stacks faster, which makes it better for dueling and globaling people. And it's kind of like a weird concept, of course. Of course, 1v1 when you're using obliterates, parry comes in, dodge comes in, and a bunch of other things come in, is why I don't rely on that when fighting double DPS. And there's been, a lot of arguments on the forums and stuff about that, and people really haven't seen it from, all the sides. They only see it from one side or the other, but there's reasons why it's good and reasons why it's not good in different situations. But that is about it, I'd have to say, for that simple rotation. Let's go into like how to burst with this, guys. Bursting's pretty easy. So when it comes to bursting on a target in arena, basically we got our let's throw up these macros real quick. We got our basic burst macro here with the Pillar of Frost and our Badge of Victory. Of course, that's our trinket. And of course, any extra little stuff you have in there when you're doing BGs or whatever you want to use those for. And basically, how are we going to go about this? I mean, you start in on a target, and you start using those obliterates, and you're throwing out those dispels, and you're setting up on a target. You're setting it up, you're getting it ready to go absolutely ham on this target. And, everything's working out fine. You maximize out your runic power. Your Necrotic Plague is sitting really low because we're using obliterates. It's okay, it's fine for arena, because as we said before, mechanics are better than raw damage in arena. So we got our crits, we got our Frost Strike, and basically we're just going to burst, and we're going to drop our frost strikes on it. Now, why in arena do we still use obliterates during burst to generate more runic power? Because with the obliterates, you can also throw in those free howling blasts and use more frost strikes faster, basically, during burst. Now you're like, what do you mean? Well, using an obliterate will generate more runic power than using a plague strike, which will cause your rotation to be shortened, but because you're bursting and using a powered rune weapon and going through a fuller rotation, everything will actually play out fine if you throw out your CDs, during a burst, which will actually cause, of course, more frost strikes to go off faster. Remember how I was talking earlier about CC and how that window, like 10-second window, that's why it's more effective in arena to throw out those obliterates during a burst than use plague strike with the elongated rotation, and being more careful about when you use your frost strikes. So that's basically how you burst when it comes to dual wield in arena. And of course, you want to keep up your dispels if you're fighting like a disc priest or something. Generally, they'll try to counter CC your cooldowns, of course, with like pain suppression and things like that. But generally, they'll throw things up you can dispel during your major bursts. So get ready to catch those. And if you do, generally, you will kill your target. But that's basically about it. Now, what should you do with your bursting? Now, if you're bursting, you want CC to be happening, because if you're bursting and there's no CC going on, you're not really doing shit. You're not doing what you should be doing. You're not killing how you should be doing. I mean, something's wrong with your team. Now, let's jump over to... Hold on. We forgot one more thing. Soul Reaper. Once you use Soul Reaper on a target, it doesn't matter if it's arena, 1v1, BGs, anything. You should get used to using Soul Reaper on a target about 50%, pushing them to Soul Reaper and having it cap as fast as possible. Now, that could actually be the difference between a major kill and not getting a kill in arena by far. Now, faster the Soul Reaper, the better. You don't want Soul Reaper, you're pushing them 20%, you put Soul Reaper on, and they're kind of dainting back and forth. No, you don't want that. You want Soul Reaper to just be like, boom, right there. Hit him right in the face and knock him down. That karate chop, all right? So, let's go ahead and jump over to CC macros, things that you should be doing in arena to, CC targets. Here we got our focus macros, guys. Basically, you need these for arena. Why, guys? Basically, it's the difference between, of course, if you're in arena doing this, DPSing on a target, and you have to click on this guy, hit him with the CC, and then click on this person again and start DPSing again. You can tell that there is a giant gap there, and that is absolutely going to kill your burst and damage in arena and make you really do a lot less pressure. So basically, with this focus macro, you see here on my right side, I don't know if you guys can see that too well, on my bar over there, you see it looks like Strangulate, and those basically are just all targets. Now, if this is target 1, this training dummy right here, this is target 2, and this is target 3. If I'm DPSing on this target, I can basically just spam that target 1 macro. It's for Strangulate, and when you switch over to Asphixiate, it also works for that. And I can basically stun that target without switching out this target and continue full pressure. Now, as you can tell, if you're bursting, that's going to be a lot more burst than if you were, trying to switch targets or doing it, any other way. Because, you don't even have to stop DPSing. You barely even have to look at the target for a split second, and it'll catch them. Also, it'll make it so if, healers that are pumping out behind pillars, keeping an eye on who you're clicking on, it's going to confuse those guys a lot better. Because, I'll explain it in a bit with a different ability, but say they're only coming out from behind pillars only a little bit, throw out a couple hots, and if they see you clicking on them, they don't ever come out. And basically, you're sitting there DPS on a target, and you see them come out. All you gotta do is hit that button, and bam, CC goes off. You don't have to take that time to try to click on them. And by the time you click on them, they ran back behind the pillar. You don't gotta screw around with none of that. So you gotta have these focus macros, guys, to get high rated in arena. Now, these macros literally are the difference between 15, 1,700 players to 2 to 2,200 players. Simply is these easy macros. Now, with these macros comes the other reason. You got to have some kind of separate button, maybe on your right hand, to use these macros, like a Razor Naga or something. Generally, it's going to cause your CCs to go off a lot easier and a lot smoother than trying to split them up and switch up your rotation while trying to get CCs off. Basically, you can see here, I'll put them down below, of course, in the comments. Basically, /cast, brackets, target equals arena 1, bracket, space Strangulate. And basically all you're going to do for that is copy it into another one and replace the one with a 2, and then replace the 2 with a 3. And that's basically going to cause it to be a separate macro for each player in the arena to CC him. Now, guys, of course you can see here I've got the Razor Naga Molten Edition, and I set all of those the CCs to here. Like my focus macros is going to be there. And basically I'm going to do the same thing for, let's see here, where did I put that one? My Mind Freezes for interrupts. Now, guys, fake casting a person's pretty easy to do. Fake casting a person in a dual 1v1 is pretty easy to do. Fake casting somebody that's not clicked on you, that one just pisses you straight off. Now, how are you going to do that? It's basically with a focus macro that lets you mind freeze, as you can see here. Now, how did I macro this? It's like another 3 buttons of macros. So all I did was I made this mind freeze a shift version of my Strangulate. So, or, you know, you can do them vice versa. So I'm DPSing on the target. That target over there, I need to CC him. Bam, I hit him with that focus Strangulate. They're silenced, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm sitting here fighting this guy. They're about to come out. They start hard casting, and then I hit the shift, and then I hit my focus interrupt on them, and then I go back to, you know, DPSing on this target, and I never had to switch targets. Now, guys, that's stuff you got to start doing in arena. That's the stuff that's going to make plays. That's the stuff that makes kills. The focus macros and learning to use those with your probably second hand. You could use them on your other one if you were, you know, using them in shifts and things like that, if you knew how to set them up that way. But I found them actually a lot better to, of course, have them on those separate hands. I'd have to say, and of course, you got to make one more, guys. You got to make one more at least. See here. Now, other people go into a lot more macros. I personally don't. You guys know me. I generally don't use macros. I don't like macros. But I wanted to teach you guys what you guys needed to have in arena. Like kind of like that guy I was teaching on EU that got 2200 by going back after I was teaching him a lot of stuff. And basically, I sent him back with macros, things like that, and new burst stuff, and yada yada the works. So basically, what you got to have here is the Dark Sim macro. Here we got /cast bracket. Target equals arena 1 bracket Dark Sim, and of course I'm going to put these down below, you know, all of them, and you're going to switch that up with 1, 2, and 3. Now you're going to be catching targets with Dark Simulacrum. Now, why is this important, guys? Because if you got a Feral Druid cycloning or something, and you're stealing cyclones and hitting it back on the healer, it's going to be so much more pressure than if you weren't. Or it's going to be the CC that actually makes the game. Or if you steal a Pally's Hodge, there's so many things that can cause it to be an amazing ability to steal stuff like that, especially since you lowered the cooldown and made the rate bigger. Now, how are you going to know when to use this ability? You will slowly learn when people use things. Generally, when people are trying to set up for kills, or they're going to CC your healer, or you'll notice things like that when you're doing arena, to throw that out. Or even better, if like Cyclone, since as a cast time, you can throw it out when they're at 70% on Cyclone to steal it and throw it back on the target, so you don't waste that ability. Or if they're smart enough to quickly throw out a Moonfire and then use the Cyclone. So you got to be careful about that, guys. And the better you can catch that, you know, the better it's going to be. Or you can steal like Warlock cooldowns or things like that, which can be a huge playmaker. I mean, yeah, I saw someone do that once. I was like, that's pretty gnarly, dude. He knows it. I told him. I was like, dude, that was nuts. But that's going to be it for those focus macros, guys. You got to have those for arena. Those are going to be the ones that are going to make your big plays for landing kills in CC. And maximizing that burst we did, and maximizing that output and making it most effective. And of course, training that with your partner's CCs is going to be what lands major kills. Now, guys, when it comes to using abilities such as Icebound Fortitude, your grip, Lichborn, things like that, the difference between dueling and arena, and why some higher rated arena people don't tend to be the best duelers or best BGers, is for this reason exactly. Is because when you use things is completely different. When I'm dueling somebody is going to be completely different than when I use my cooldowns in arena. Like anti-magic shell, for instance. You know, in a duel, you can use it earlier to, avoid CC, things like that, instead of just avoiding burst. Now, with Arena for anti-magic shell, you really want to wait on the ability to use it at a point to where you're getting rid of burst, not generally as like an offensive AMS to avoid damage. Of course, if you're trying to completely get a kill, I mean, it may be plausible, but generally, you want to try and use that as a damage mitigator in Arena. Very important, guys. Icebound Fortitude 2. When should you use that? Generally, when you're going to be caught in stuns and people are bursting on you. I mean, it's pretty straightforward what you're going to use that for, of course, as the damage mitigator. Don't try to stack your mitigations as possible. Try to split them up, guys. Don't try to clump them all together. The more you clump those together and not space them out, the harder it's going to be for you guys to try to win. As soon as somebody gets all your cooldowns out of you in Arena, you become a very killable target. If you don't got your Trinket, you got your IBF, you don't got any of that stuff, you become very killable, especially in a 3 situation, guys. Let's see here. What else do we need? And of course, since we're using different glyphs, our empowered rune weapon doesn't give us a heal. So it's basically just an offensive ability we use during burst to cause our obliterate rotation to be elongated to generate faster frost strikes in that smaller vicinity to get kills against healers. And of course, setting up with the obliterate dispel spec to set up for that. When should you use self-heals? And of course, let's say you have to use things to heal up for some reason. You've used your anti-magic shell, you're in a bad spot, your healer's sitting CC, you've already used Death Pact, let's say, and you're using Death Strikes. You're going to go Lichborn heavy because you're in it. Now, I mean, it kind of sucks that when you're not using siphons, once you use the Death Pact, the Death Pact's over. So that kind of sucks for playing in Arena. But you gotta do what you gotta do, guys. It's Arena. But you can Death Strike and try to get your health back up. You can go Blood Presence trying to keep yourself up. Now, some DKs do, like I said before, prefer playing with Siphon in Arena and prefer going with that little kiting method other than, just going damage heavy and sitting on the target and fully committing to damage. But, it's basically how Arena works. Why not? That's what you're supposed to do, I guess. But anyways, guys, as for, stance dancing, guys, if you're taking way too much damage, you can sit Blood Presence. If you're not taking hardly any damage at all, of course, Frost Presence is going to be your maximum amount of damage. As for Unholy Presence, it's garbage. You don't even got to go there, guys. You don't even got to go there. Don't even go there for Frost. I've actually heard somebody who came up to me once, and they were like, dude, I'm going to smash you in a duel. And I was like, are you? They're like, yeah. And I'm going to do it in Unholy Presence. And I'm like, This guy, did someone just some of the stuff that you hear as a YouTuber, guys, is like you don't want to be mean, but you just who taught you this? Yeah. All right. What's next? Death Grip? When should you use Death Grip? Now, guys, remember how Death Grip adds 25% damage to it? Don't focus on that for Arena. When should you use Death Grip? Use it mechanically when a healer gets away and you gotta pull him back. When a druid uses Displacer Beast. When a mage uses Blink. Times like that, guys. Don't use it out of mechanic wise. That's more for battlegrounds, getting big hits, having fun in duels and stuff like that. Don't go using it just to try and put out a big frost strike. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself probably getting boned by most ranged teams. So definitely use your Death Grip sparingly. So that's going to be it for this guide, guys. So leave a like, comment down below if you have a question. I'll go ahead and try to answer it, guys. I figured it was time for an updated guide since my playstyle has changed quite a lot. And a lot of people have noticed it and have been asking about it, and they've been wanting a guide. Someone requested it also on the Facebook, YouTube thing. Okay, yeah. Go check that out if you haven't, guys. We make memes over there and try to make fun of people. At least make fun of ourselves sometimes. But, anyways... Guys, thanks for watching. Honestly, this guide, I probably put more effort into this video than probably just about every video I've ever made. Our last guide broke 150,000 views, which is absolutely amazing, guys. Thank you for that. I honestly, I never thought a video would get that big. Who would have thought? This video, I have to thank Hype Down and a few other guys that actually gave me a hand of figuring some stuff out for rated arenas. This is why I'm able to actually teach people to be higher rated than me, is because of the information I've got. I've actually grabbed it from quite a few people, and they don't even really know that I've done that. I actually have watched quite a few Hours of Mez and a few other guys to actually pick up on all this stuff and study a lot on it, which is completely weird. But anyways, guys, if this is definitely a 2K plus guide easily for Frosty K if you follow this in practice. Of course, you can't just pick it all up at once and do it. You're gonna have to practice, like each section at a time and then get everything down. Now the hardest part is definitely the focus macros. Once you get that down, guys, it should be simple. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Leave a like. Until next time, guys, this is your boy Hazzed.